At ease, cadets. Keep your pants on. This is your debriefing on the Tier 6 Premium Japanese destroyer Yukikaze. Currently available for 12,000 space bucks, space coins. I don't know, if you put space in front of a word, it sounds futuristic. Replicator, Earl Grey. Hot. Alright, here is the down and dirty version for those who need to catch a transport to Deep Space 69. It's got pretty good guns, the turret rotation is slow, it's got insane torpedoes, and excellent concealment. If you are looking for something a little more in-depth, then grab yourself a Romulan ale, some blood wine, and a bowl full of gach, while I beam some knowledge into your gray matter. On the main screen are some recordings our field agents made on their optolithic data rods of typical gameplay in this Defiant-class destroyer. First, how do you get this ship? If you want it, then I would recommend the 12,000 Gold Press Latinum bars to pick up the 3 missions from the store. They're simple enough to do just by playing regular mode, and you'll have some space bucks left over afterwards to get yourself something nice. Or, if you're some sort of Cardassian sadist who enjoys looking at lights, you can grind out most of the space bucks in Stellar Clash, but I must warn you, only a Petach would do such a thing. So that's how you get it. But who will you have command this ship? Well, you've got a few options, and in these clips I am using Kurita, Tanaka, and Fishbowl. You're no doubt familiar with the perks Tanaka and Kurita offer, whereas Fishbowl has a base trait that increases the torpedo speed. So it is possible you could get these Rigelian taxis up to 84 knots from their slow 80. At the expense of purchasing the commander, dumping, 160 or so promotion orders into them, 8 or 9 insignias, and like 20 accommodations. Personally, I don't think it's worth it, and think either Tanaka or Kurita will work just fine. Alright, let's dig a little deeper into the dilithium mines. The guns on this ship hit very hard. More than any other Japanese destroyer I bothered to look at. They indeed don't seem to have a setting for just stun. You'll see in most, if not all of these clips, that I am indeed firing my guns because that's what they're there for. They also have a 9% fire chance, which is the best of my admittedly little research comparing it to the others. The turret traverse is pretty slow, and numerous times you can see me out-turning them, which is one of the benefits of having Kurita on, with Twist and Track indicating the nearest ship's direction and increasing the turret's traverse. For torpedoes, it is indeed armed with quantum torpedoes with a base damage just under 22,000. Think about that. They go warp 8, or warp 8.4 if you spec for it, with a range of 8 kilometers base. These are in fact the same torpedoes that are on the blacklisted ship that will not be named, and so I have to wonder if this isn't perhaps a bit much considering this ship will be seeing Tier 5 ships. In my testing, I think 99% of the games I played I was bottom tier. Did it matter? Not one bit. If you look at the specs, I'd say this ship is even better than the Tech Tree Tier 7 destroyer Kagero. Your reload on your guns is a bit slower, and the ship itself is a little slower, but who cares? I would rather take this ship out than the Kagero any day of the week. I suspect that this is where many in the future are going to take issue with this ship once it has completely polluted tiers 5 through 7. Just dodge, right? Well, have you seen the agility of tier 5 battleships? Many tier 5 battleships can take about 4 torpedoes from this thing, maybe 5, and that's if they haven't taken any damage already. So I have to wonder, is this what the game really needed? Another stealthy destroyer whose alpha strike of a full salvo is about 175,000 potential damage. Well, who cares if it doesn't have a torpedo reload booster when that Alpha Strike alone is enough to take out 3 battleships in many of the games this ship will see? Will just knowing this ship is close cause you to put your controller down and go back to port like this Nelson? Maybe. Yeah. This is a tier 7 destroyer that is really just getting favorable matchmaking. It will never have to face legendary tier ships, well, unless you fail up, and though I think it would be at a noticeable disadvantage there, it would still definitely be able to compete. At tier 6, it is very, very good, and at tier 5, it is laughably overpowered. When you combine these insane Alpha Strike torpedoes with the ridiculously low detection range you can get here, and that is the subject of the last piece of this review, detection. The detection on destroyers in this game is busted. There is no conceivable reason why any destroyer in this game with an Alpha Strike this huge or reload times like the Kamikaze should be able to get 4.5 kilometers away from another ship without being spotted. I was trying to get some footage of how ridiculous that is this morning in this ship, but I ended up having a jackpot game instead, so I'll show you that tomorrow. In my opinion, if one were to spec entirely for detection and spend every promotion order, insignia, and commendation on commanders to get it there, they should max out at 5 or maybe 5.1 kilometers. But you can get under 5 kilometers with a combination of Bay and Sikorsky without either one of them close to being maxed out. I don't have either one of them maxed out, though Bay is close. Hence my 4.6 kilometer detection in some of these clips. It was once stated by Ouija that the battleships in this game don't have their concealment mods as it would make them too overpowered. And the detection of a fair number of cruisers has been nerfed too compared to the PC counterpart. So what is the purpose of reducing the detection so drastically on destroyers? Well, it is probably to give them greater survivability. I would suggest that it is instead actually causing the opposite. It encourages players to abandon a destroyer's job and allows for the ability of destroyer players to go off on wild goose chases through the Alpha Quadrant all the way to the Delta Quadrant. And that, I think, is the issue most people really have. There is very little punishment these destroyers face when not doing their job, instead opting to go hunting for damage. Sure, they lose, but they'll do a couple 100,000 damage, then post a screenshot saying, "When your best isn't enough." In their mind, they are destroyer, and resistance is futile. Sorry for venting my plasma conduits there. Maybe I need a little shore leave to 10 forward before my warp core breaches. So final thoughts on this ship. Yeah, it is good, and it is a certified Kraken printer. And if you're the sort of person who wears their polo collar up and enjoys doing donuts in the Camaro your parents bought you, then you're probably really going to like this and drum up some excuses about how this ship isn't at all overpowered. It's just your skill that makes everyone jealous. And I won't kick you off the love boat if you do pick it up, but I will warn you that it encourages learning bad behavior. Alright, I've got one more clip to show you, and this is an example of this ship going up against a Tier 5 battleship. 3 torpedoes. That's all it takes for this Bayern to barely have 5,000 health left. If they had taken any damage before that, they would have been sunk. So no, I don't particularly think this ship is fair. And that's going to wrap it up for this one, folks. Make sure to check out all the other CC's videos so you can make a more informed decision for yourself on whether you'd like to get this one. It's always good to hear from a variety of sources before coming to your own conclusions. I will be back tomorrow with a jackpot in this game. So thank you all for watching. I'll get back out there for another one soon, and we'll talk then. Transporter room. One to beam up.